Slight Case of Overbombing. It's the second compilation from Sisters of Mercy.
Yeah.
Why?
Why not? I think every band has to, as soon as it gets the chance, it has to release a greatest hits just to make some new friends and make people aware that it is a major band and not a cult item. I really don't like the reputation of being a cult act. Yeah, I think if what you do is good, then it's not only a challenge, but it's a responsibility to spread it to as many people as possible.
Are you more satisfied with A Slight Case of Overbombing than the other compilation album, Some Girls Wander by Mistake?
Oh yeah, Some Girls Wander by Mistake I've always described as kind of like baby photos. It's like a collection of baby photos. It's interesting for the people that already know you, but you wouldn't want to show your baby photos to a stranger. Whereas the greatest hits is something that you definitely would want to show to a stranger.
Is it really your favorite songs, the one you have compiled for your album?
No, I do tend to prefer the more... I tend to prefer the less bombastic songs. But I'm smart enough to know that the record company can't sell those as singles, which is one of the reasons the record's called A Slight Case of Overbombing. It does tend to represent the more bombastic side of the band, I think. And so some of my favourite songs are more indirectly powerful. You know, we've written a lot of songs, or I've written a lot of songs which I thought could be hits in the same way that R.E.M. have hits, but I can't get my record company, particularly in Britain, I can't get them to understand that I am Michael Stipe and not Ozzy Osbourne.
A picture of you as the king of goth and black hair, as you don't have anymore.
No, I don't. That's not really my picture. I have to go a long way to prove the point. I very, very, very rarely appear on stage in black clothes because I just know what people are going to say about the records, because there's a lot of lazy reactions to my work based on a false interpretation of what I wear. Mostly I go on stage in yellow or white, but I've found that you have to do that for 5 years before people notice that maybe the popular impression of you is slightly wrong. That's just something that I have to live with.
Down in the streets of shame, the betting of names on gold to rust.
You gave like as a whole style, while the girls were dressed like Susie Sue, the guys were like you. How do you feel about it?
Well, not the guys I hang out with.
No.
Or the girls, incidentally.
But how does it feel to be like a kind of stylist?
I don't feel responsible for that. I really don't feel responsible for it, so it doesn't, you know, unless somebody like you asks me that kind of question, it really isn't something I think about. You know, if I see someone dressed like the kind of people you're describing. If I see someone like that standing at a bus stop, I don't react to it any more than I would seeing a housewife at the bus stop. I really don't feel connected to it. I don't feel responsible for it.
Quite a few times, for example, on Fluteland, you have been dealing with political things, with Mother Russia. Is your interest for politics still as big as?
Yeah, I think it's important. And as an artist, I tend to interpret politics through the details of everyday life. I'm not very good at singing slogans. On the occasions where I do sing slogans like Mother Russia, rain down, 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 that's as much of a metaphor as any direct political statement. But I am a political animal, and I think it's important that people pay attention to what's going on around them. People that say to me, we're not interested in politics, to me they're just people who accept what goes on around them, and I find it very difficult to accept that without commenting or without wishing to change it. And I've always tried to make records for the world as it is. That's why I maybe have a reputation as a pessimist or a cynic. I don't regard myself as either of those two things. I regard myself as a realist. I've always tried to make records that reflect the real world. It's tough, but that's not a dark point of view, that's just realistic. And I've always tried to write songs which show you how you can have fun in a tough world, and how you can find that path through the minefield, you know.
Maybe I understand things wrong, but I can still, you're dealing with important subjects, but at the same time there is humor in your songs as well. There's things that you can laugh.
I think it's an important weapon, humor. And I think it is important to laugh. It's important to, it's a 20th century aesthetic. I think everybody has an appreciation of the absurd, but that appreciation is particularly well developed in English people. We have a lot of ways of expressing that which aren't common to other local cultures. You know, most of our television humour involves extreme violence. And we find that very funny. I like songs that I think if you can make a song mean something, then why not? It's cowardly to back away from that challenge, I think. Apart from which it's what I'm best at, so why should I give up making songs that mean something? One of the great things about this band, why it's still going, or why the whole idea of the Sisters still means something, is that we do reach people in a different way to most bands. We might not mean as much to as many people, but we mean more to the people that we reach. And I think there's a place for bands like that. I have no problem with Roxette. I have no problem with a band that writes great tunes for the maximum number of people, but that's not what I do. What I do is I write songs that mean more, and I accept the fact that I reach less people. I try, especially with records like A Slight Case of Overbombing, I try and reach more people. But ultimately, if I have to choose between reaching more people or reaching a few people deeper, I will choose to reach a few people deeper every time.